welcome to another episode of Going All In, Get the Edge You Need to Succeed. I'm Dr. Erin McKinley, and today we have another awesome spotlight session with Mark McInerney from the Rush University Master of Science and Dietetic Internship based in Chicago, Illinois. All right, welcome, Mark. Start us off with telling us a little bit about you and your journey to Rush University.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. McKinley. So my journey to Rush, it's been a pretty recent landing. I just arrived about a year ago here at Rush and started as an assistant professor. My previous experience was at another institution as a director of a coordinated program in dietetics. So within the last year, I've been here at Rush and just as of this week, started as the program director.
All right, and Sally's with us as well. How about you introduce yourself and tell us how you landed at Rush?
Hi, everybody. I'm Sally Lipson. I'm the internship coordinator at Rush. I've pretty much been there since I said goodbye to my internship at Henry Ford in Detroit. And I knew there'd be a great job in the city of Chicago. I started at Rush as a dietitian, and then I was able to get my master's degree there as I was working as a dietitian. And I've been there for the majority of my career, working as the internship director for the last 25 years.
All right, so we'll let you go right into your presentation about your program.
All right, so this is a presentation for Rush University. It's our combined master's degree dietetic internship program. We're located in Chicago, Illinois. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of give you a little background about Rush University Medical Center and Rush University. We'll start with the Medical Center. Rush University Medical Center is a 675-bed academic medical facility. So we're relatively large. We're nationally ranked in multiple medical specialties. And moving on to Rush University consists of 4 colleges. We have the Medical College, the College of Nursing, the Graduate College, and the College of Health Sciences. The College of Health Sciences is where clinical nutrition lives. Within the Department of Clinical Nutrition. The Department of Clinical Nutrition has 6 dedicated full-time faculty. So now for a quick program overview, like I said on the first slide, we are combined master's degree and dietetic internship. Our main focus is clinical nutrition. So our MS is clinical nutrition, and then our internship focus is clinical nutrition as well. We are a 21-month program, and that's relatively new. You may see some old literature that says we're a 20-month program. That has recently changed. And we are an integrated program. And what we mean by that is you're going to be taking classes and doing your internship work at the same time. The way that we have it set up or will be set up in the upcoming year is students will be in class 1 day a week, and then be doing clinical rotations for 2 days during the week. And then they have another 2 days to work on research and coursework. Just recently, we've upped the number of students that we can accept, and we accept 20 students per year. Now I'll get into a little bit more detail about the supervised practice. One of the greatest things about Rush University is that the majority of supervised practice is done here on site, right at Rush. In addition to our main campus, there are also 2 community hospitals that are part of the organization, and those are Rush Oak Park and Rush Copley. Where we'll deviate a little bit from the Rush campus is when we get into our community rotations, and I'll discuss that a little bit later. Here at Rush, we use the teacher practitioner model, and that just means that you are being taught by the people who practice within a specific area. So really, you are being taught by experts in their respective area of nutrition practice. Just to give a quick overview of what you would expect in terms of supervised practice throughout the course of the program. The first semester, so for those coming in next year, that will be fall 2021, that's where you will complete the food service management rotation. And then the semester after that, you'll do your first introduction to clinical nutrition. And then in the summer is community nutrition. And then your last 2 semesters, so fall 2022 and spring 2023, that's strictly clinical nutrition. And I have a program overview that I'll share with you in the upcoming slides. So just some examples of the clinical rotations that students complete while completing their internship at Rush. We have MNT1, MNT2, we have a diabetes rotation, enteroparenteral nutrition rotation, oncology, geriatrics, neurology, GI surgery, renal, peds, critical care, and staff responsibility or staff relief. So where students are essentially functioning as a dietitian on the floors. With each of these rotations, again, going back to that teacher practitioner model, you are being precepted and taught by dietitians that work in these fields every day. They have a wealth of knowledge to share, and they love sharing it with students. Community experiences, again, these are the areas where the rotations will take place off campus. So every summer, students have the opportunity to go to a diabetes camp. We also send students to our local food pantry and food depository, and being in the city of Chicago, that is a very large system, and the students get a lot of great opportunities going there. We also allow students to teach classes at Head Start and senior centers. They volunteer with health fairs. They conduct cooking demonstrations within the community, outside of Rush, but also inside Rush as well. Work at outpatient clinics, WIC clinics, the Dairy Association, as well as our local extension offices. So that's the supervised practice piece. Now I'd like to get a little bit more into the master's, which is required to graduate and get your verification statement to sit for the RD exam. So our coursework is divided into 3 major content areas. We have nutrition, research, and leadership. In addition to the coursework, students are required to complete a master's research project. This used to be what we called our thesis, right? So you have your normal 5 chapter thesis that you completed. The master's research project is very, very similar to a thesis. The only difference is the timeline changes a little bit. So with a thesis, you have to be done almost a whole semester prior to graduation. With a master's research project, we can extend that a little bit more, but the experience, the research that you conduct doesn't change. And just to expand on that a little bit more, the way research projects are assigned, when students come into the program, all 6 faculty members, as well as our practitioners, will propose research projects. Students have the opportunity then to select one of those research projects to work on. So they don't have to have an idea in their head coming in. They know the backgrounds of the faculty. Hopefully, you know that from talking with us or reading it online. So some of the areas that the research has been done here at Rush with faculty are cystic fibrosis, body composition, the gut microbiome, oncology, diet, cognition, as well as some newer stuff. We have community area, particularly with fruits and vegetable prescription programs. It's a newer area of research here at Rush. But with that, the students will work on that. They'll start that first semester and they'll work through until they graduate. So now just to briefly go through the curriculum Um, what you see online is a little bit different than what actually is. We just did a major curriculum revision, so I do want to point this out. Online, you'll see that our program is 67 credit hours. However, after our revision, that has been cut down to 48 credit hours. And in doing so, that also decreased tuition significantly. With our supervised practice, we decreased that by 9 credit hours. The students are still getting the required 1,200, but it's in a shorter period of time. And then our didactic coursework has been cut down from 37 to 27. Now, I do want to note that even though we reduced, we did maintain the same depth and breadth of the material that's being provided. We really just eliminated some redundancies. With the 27 credits of our didactic coursework, 14 of that is nutrition core, with 13 being research core. And then just to finish this off, our full-time students will complete the program within 21 months. And we only have a full-time track at Rush. All right, so really quick, I'll walk you through what you would expect each semester. So the first semester, our main focus is management. So you'll see we have management and leadership and practice in management and leadership. With this is where you're working in the production areas in the kitchen. You're working on management activities within the kitchen, and you're also working on quality improvement projects. With the management piece, you also start your research. All right, so you have your research methods. As soon as you get here, you'll pick your topic, and then you'll start working on that topic. And the first place you'll start is research methods. So we'll get you going, we'll get you on track, and you'll work on the project all throughout the program without any hiccups. So we can ensure that you get here, you do the work, you graduate on time. That first spring is where we're going to introduce the fundamentals of nutrition care. So with the fundamentals of nutrition care, think nutrition care process, the basics of nutrition assessment, as well as nutrition-focused physical exam. We'll also get into some of the chronic diseases, the basics, right? So diabetes, cardiovascular disease, obesity. This will be a refresher from your undergraduate, but a refresher's not always a bad thing. In addition to that, we'll jump into metabolism, biostats, and then every semester from here on out, you are registered with that master's research project. That is our way of ensuring that you are working on your research as you go through the program. Your first summer, like I previously stated, is going to be community nutrition. You'll be out at all those great locations that I said earlier. And then there's also community class. Now, the community class isn't set up like your undergrad community classes. It's set up to where we'll touch briefly on needs assessment, but we're really going to focus on the policy aspect of community nutrition. So where's the funding come from for these programs that our community dietitians work? Then we'll get into vitamins and minerals, and again, you can see the research project. Fall 2, Advanced Clinical Care 1. This is when you're going to be on the floors. You're going to start getting into the specialties. So with Advanced Clinical Care 1, we expect to have you working in oncology, renal, nutrition support. And then we have a nutrition epi course. And again, you can see the master's research project. And then the final semester, we're going to go back to the basics. We're going to go back to wellness. Let's get everybody, let's prevent everyone from getting to those further advanced disease states. And then in addition to that, we're going to be working on the floors, again, further with our specialty areas. But in addition to this semester, you'll also be doing your staff relief. So where you're functioning as a dietitian on a specific unit. And that is the curriculum summary at Rush University. So with that being said, I do want to share with you, where are some of our Rush alumni working? Where do these individuals, graduates, get jobs? We have individuals working at Children's Memorial Hospital. We have them here at Rush, the University of Chicago, Northwestern, all very well-respected hospitals. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. One of the great things about being in Chicago is we are literally right down the street from the Academy. So students are able to get some rotation experience there as well. We have students working at NIH, Emory, Nestle, Abbott, General Mills, the USDA, and then we have some students that are working in communication, so Burson Marsteller. Very diverse. Even though we are clinically focused, there are jobs, a lot of our students take jobs outside of the clinical realm. And then just very briefly, I want to touch on what our admissions requirements are. So we do use DICAS, so you need to follow the DICAS schedule. We are happy to report that we no longer require the GRE. There's something new we added for the upcoming class, and that is going to be an interview, and I'll discuss that a little bit later. And then finally, what are we looking for? What are we looking at with our applicants? What's an ideal applicant look like for Rush? I will tell you, we look at GPA like most programs. Now, we're not looking for all 4.0s or all 3.9s. We're looking for somebody who has a good GPA, but we do know that sometimes when students start college, they may not have the best first semester, the best second semester, or something happens in their life where something just, it's not normal. Okay, so their grades are hurt a little bit. What we look for is a progression. Did students get better as they progress through their undergraduate program? Again, not all 3.8s, 9s, or 4.0s. We're looking at your personal statement. Why do you want to come to Rush? What is it about Rush that you think will make a good fit for you? In addition, with the personal statement, we're looking to make sure that you can write. So make sure that it is well written. We'll look at letters of recommendation as well as work and volunteer experience. Now with work volunteer experience, we understand undergraduate students, not all of them are able to get volunteer experience because maybe some of you are working your way through undergraduate, so you don't have the time. That can easily be explained in a personal statement. So again, that's another reason why that statement is so important. But it is always nice if you have something in that work volunteer experience section. And then finally, the interview. The interview, like I said, it's going to be new here at Rush. It's going to be a short 20-minute interview. Really, it's an opportunity for faculty and practitioners to get to know you a little bit better. There will also be a few situational questions that you can expect, but nothing too overwhelming. That is our admissions requirement. And then just to bundle it up for you, so what are the advantages of the Rush program? We are located within a large academic medical center, which offers so many opportunities for students that they may not get at other programs. We have dedicated faculty and preceptors. Our number one goal once you get here to Rush is to make sure that you succeed. And we'll do everything that we have to make sure that happens. We cover all major clinical specialties. We have over 90% first-time pass rate on the RDN exam. Our students get jobs. They get good jobs. And if you want to be in a big city, Chicago is probably, in my opinion, the best big city there is to be in. And then for more information, you can always contact us. I encourage you, if you haven't heard of Rush University before, please check out our website. By the time you hear this, the open house is over, but you can always contact me or Sally Lipson, our internship coordinator. So with all that being said, I would like to have two of our students, Cole and Claire, current students, if they could maybe just give a brief overview of your experiences here at Rush.
So as Dr. McInerney said, my name is Claire and I'm a second year in the program here at Rush. Cole and I actually just started our last semester of the program this week, which is crazy to believe because I have no idea where the past almost 2 years have gone. So just to tell you a little bit about me, I was born and raised in Libertyville, Illinois, so a north suburb of Chicago. And I graduated in 2019 from Miami University in Ohio. So as Dr. McInerney mentioned, each student completes a master's research project. My specific project is focused on exploring vitamin supplementation knowledge and adherence among patients with cystic fibrosis. So I have the pleasure of working with my amazing faculty advisor, where we will actually use the data that we collect to improve patient care from a nutrition standpoint right here at the Cystic Fibrosis Clinic at Rush. And then another aspect that I love about Rush, and I was totally drawn to this just from seeing the interactions when I attended the open house a few years ago, is how well respected and present the dietitians are here, both with their patients and even with us as students. They spend a majority of their days right on the floors with us, rounding with the medical teams and visiting all their patients, even just to check in, make sure everything's okay, even if it's not a patient, they have to chart on that day, which I think sets a great example for us as students, as we'll soon be entering the field as well as practicing dietitians. And with that, some of my favorite clinical experiences so far have been with oncology, pediatrics, and neurology. And so for me, I have a specific interest in nutrition support. So I was able to learn and apply many skills related to, enteral nutrition, things like that within each of these populations. And with that, this program, one of the awesome things about it too, is that it allows for a great deal of flexibility to pursue further topics where your interests lie. And so, like I said, I'm super interested in nutrition support. So I'm actually, I have something scheduled. So I'm returning to the NICU in about a month to continue applying my skills about nutrition support, specifically with the neonatal population, which I'm super excited about.
My name is Cole. I'm also a second year student in this master's DI program with Claire. I'm actually from New Hampshire. I'm from the East Coast. So I'm familiar with cities like New York and Boston. And I have to say that Chicago is definitely one of the best cities to live in. So one of the main things that I've taken from this program is just the clinical experience. The clinical experience that I've gained at Rush is honestly unmatched. I like to think that every qualified dietitian has to pass the RD exam. However, what I think really makes the dietitian is their experiences. And at such a large center like Rush, there are just more opportunities to have experiences. For example, I was able to learn and handle the care of a child with a rare adenocarcinoma during my pediatric rotation, to handle the nutrition care of a patient with sunken skull syndrome in my neurology rotation, and even to working on the COVID floors in the midst of this pandemic. It's just something that I just don't think you get at other facilities. The clinical experience is led by dietitians who are just really great to work with. They're very well respected in the hospital, as Claire mentioned. And I think that Rush is unique in that aspect to have such an amazing clinical experience. As far as the coursework, it's very diverse, and there's definitely opportunities to dive into what you specifically want to learn. I think the program challenges you in a very good way. This is a master's program combined with the Dietetic Internship, and your preceptors and teachers are there to help you and guide you and make sure that you succeed, but not in any ways hold your hand. I really think that you really develop as a learner during this program. And one aspect of the program that I really enjoyed was actually the community aspect in the first couple semesters of the program, where we actually went to a food bank and were able to teach a different demographic or a different population of Chicago about cardiovascular disease and give presentations in front of them. And that was just a really great experience, as in my undergrad, I didn't really have a good nutrition community background.
All right. Well, thank you, Cole and Claire, for sharing that insight, and congratulations on finishing up and being interns during such an interesting time to be a dietetic intern. I think your class will be probably stronger than most classes coming out of school right now. So I'm going to roll right into the 5 questions that I ask all of the programs that come on the podcast. So the first question I have is, what is one thing in particular, and you kind of touched on this, Mark, a little bit prior, but what is really one thing in particular that you love to see when you're reading an applicant's personal statement?
I'll let Sally, you can go ahead and start on this one, since you've been reading these just like a year or two longer.
Well, one nice thing is that on the committee, we have a mix of faculty, practitioners, so you're getting different perspectives. I think the group likes to see within the letter that you've thought about Rush and you've looked into it enough to know that it's a good match for you and has what you're most looking for. We also like to see, Mark talked about it a little bit, but that you've done some outside activities along with academics. We know not everyone can get food service or clinical experience, but that you either have had to work or have gotten involved in some organizations, shown some leadership, even sports involvement just shows that you're able to take on other things and multitask as you're going through the program. So I'd say that's a couple things, but we really do look at the whole package. We have no absolutes where you have to get a certain something or we don't look at the packets. So those are a couple things that I like to see.
And I'll just build on that. And like I said in the presentation, make sure that the personal statement, tell us about yourself. Tell us what you think we should know, not what you think we want to hear. Because I think that's something that students do often, is they think about the person reading it and not about themselves. It's okay to talk about yourself. Explain to us why you want to be here. Why do you want to be at Rush? With that being said, sometimes you can't use the same letter for multiple programs because that comes across very clearly to us as the reviewers.
All right. Well, my next question is a true or false question.
Oh, no.
And it's true or false, an applicant's resume should be 1 page and 1 page only. Either way, why?
Well, I would just say it's interesting that you even focus on that because years ago, the resume was optional. Some students had it, some students did not. So I'd say it's kind of the same thing. It depends on who's looking at it. I think we still look at the whole package. Some people may look at the resume because it has things nicely displayed on it, but still the application itself includes a lot of those pieces of information. So I guess with that said, 1 page is probably nice because there's so much information in the application, but I guess I wouldn't lose a lot of sleep over it personally. Mark, what do you think?
I say false. I want to know what you did, and I don't want it to be in 9-point font, right? So if it bleeds over to a second page, that's okay. If you did great things, make sure you include those great things. Now, I don't want to know what you did when you were 5, but I do want to know what you did while you were in your undergraduate program.
All right. And just some background on why the students like to ask that question is that they get a lot of back and forth between programs, that they demand 1 page and another one doesn't. And they're like, what do I do? There's only 1 spot. And then there are free resources available on the internet. They know who they are, who tell students that their resume should not be more than 1 page, or the second page isn't going to be read. So that's kind of unfortunate because that's usually not true. So I always like to ask the programs that come on just to further the confusion, maybe for some, but at least for students that are definitely interested in your program, they would know the 2 pages okay. But then the 1 page is okay too. All right. So what is one thing that an applicant may do, and they may do this in their application, in that interview that they're going to do with you, maybe in some email communication or some interaction with you? What is one thing or more that they may do that might raise some red flags for you to where you would think this person might not be a good fit for our program?
Mark, you want to start?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. A red flag question. In my experience as a internship director at a different university, the one thing that really was kind of a red flag for me is if you send me an email while you're going through the application process, and I don't respond to it immediately, and you send me another email the next day, right? So you just that's always been somewhat of a red flag to me. Or if you send me some kind of communication and I send something back and I don't hear from you, right? Or if I try to set up a meeting with you and you don't respond, that is a red flag for me.
And I think we had a student just ask us that the other day too, Mark. And I think one of my responses was grammatic and obvious errors and typos on that one-page personal statement that the students write, not proofreading that appropriately can be a red flag. And or in reference to what Mark said, I don't know that we've had too many mention a different program. I'd say maybe one in a lot of years, but use typos on that. And in terms of the interview, I mean, I can tell you what we want to see: a positive attitude, enthusiasm, and some passion for the field. So I guess somebody who doesn't express that might raise a red flag for me. The need to be flexible. Our students will tell you that. Certainly with being hit with COVID, we all had to be, and these guys did an excellent job. And getting along well with people, that's certainly essential. So any flags against that would be a sign.
All right, perfect. So moving on to a different topic, I know you mentioned earlier that you did a revamp of the curriculum, but thinking more about the supervised practice, what is one area of supervised practice that you're actively working on trying to make even better as an experience for the interns?
Let me go, Mark. I think, we're very responsive to things that the students have had to say. We have them evaluate each rotation. Those go to me, and I want to share that those are all very positive. So we've been responsive. We had neurology, when we first brought the neurology rotation, it was 1 week. Everybody said, no, we want 2, we want more. We made that 2. We've made a couple little changes in how we've done critical care. I'd say the biggest thing is that we're looking to do some additions with community, and there's some wonderful opportunities that Mark's going to focus on and bring to the program as well. We've had a tendency to, Claire and Cole may be able to, we've sort of given them bites of all sorts of different pieces, and we're looking toward making a longer experience in some of those locations just to give them a little more experience.
Yes, I would agree with that. Our community area, I've been on board for a year, and that's one place where we're really trying to develop it a little bit more based on student feedback. It's something students have repeatedly said that they want more of. And to be fair, the reason we didn't have a major focus on it is because we were a clinically focused program. Now we're branching out a little bit more to be a little bit broad, but still maintaining our clinical focus.
All right. Well, my last question of the 5 is a 2-parter. And the first part is, what would be the 3 best adjectives, phrases, or descriptors that you feel describe your program?
I've got 2: challenging, comprehensive, and I'd say quality of preceptors and faculty.
Those are very similar to what I had written down, Sally. I had high quality, challenging, and respected. We're respected within the community, but we're also respected within the Chicagoland area because there are multiple internship programs located around us.
All right. And so the second part's very similar: 3 adjectives, phrases, or descriptors to describe your ideal applicant. You already sort of mentioned some of these.
Yeah,
Sally.
we did.
Talk about the opposite of your red flags.
Right. I mentioned positive, good attitude. You got to be a team player. Sometimes we get students that, we can admit to themselves that they want to do it themselves to make sure it's done right. But there's a lot of projects and things where we hope everybody can work as a team and all contribute equally and kind of help each other out with the project, which we often get to do.
I would, again, some of them I would agree with the same ones. I have hardworking, they need to have a good attitude, as well as be flexible. And I think this past year has taught us a lot about flexibility, and I will give tons of credit to faculty staff, Sally, who's organized all of our internship, and then students who've gone with the flow in recognition of how serious of a time we were living in and the uncertainty that went along with everything. But we can say that the majority of us have been vaccinated now here at Rush.
Well, I'm going to move on to some additional questions that I jotted down while you were doing your presentation, and it kind of speaks to some of the changes that have had to occur because of COVID. I'm sure in the spring there were a lot of changes that were made. Are there any changes made that you feel like you might continue in the future? Have you altered any experiences for the students where you feel like, hey, maybe this works a little bit better in a virtual format? Is there any sort of changes you might keep around?
Well, I'll start. I think we were pretty lucky in terms of supervised practice that our students weren't initially, that they pretty much finished up before this last semester. So we had a little bit of playtime to just move some of the rotations down. So not a lot of changes there. Most of it was really more community when we couldn't be on site for a diabetes camp, or some of the outpatient clinics that we sent the students to needed to social distance better and couldn't have that many people in a small place. So in terms of things we've learned, I think we've learned the flexibility, and maybe with this focus on community and how to best fit it in, keeping this kind of thing in mind. I don't know. I'd say probably that's just one area where things were kind of changing anyway. But we'll have to see. We're still seeing. I think they're saying there may not be diabetes camp this summer. The students planned a nice farmers market program for the summer. Not sure if that's going to happen, but if not, we'll have them do things that they can either provide the handouts or do some education virtually. Or Mark and I just today were talking about a project we're doing for MLK Day that will be done virtually. So, it may open up some other virtual opportunities down the road. I think that could probably happen in the community area. So that's a positive.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And we really can embrace some of the virtual world that we've been living in. One of the biggest impacts, I think, is we've had a greater reach on some of the community members where it may have been difficult for them to get to programs that were happening live in person. It's been easier for them to come on a Zoom call or a WebEx call. But from the I'll move towards the education side. I think from my standpoint, we've learned that because of COVID, that there are things that we can do in the classroom that help prepare the students for the supervised practice piece, but also counts towards those hours. So there are things that we recognize we can do a little bit more work in the classroom. But then from a teaching standpoint, recording lectures, letting students listen to them when they have time, and not coming and having to meet with us for 3 hours and then go do a 4-hour rotation. So that has been nice.
All right. I just have a couple more questions going back to more basic things about applying to the program. You said there's no real minimums, but does the graduate school have a minimum GPA requirement that students should be shooting for?
Yeah, the minimum is a 3.0. But when I say that, I just want to make clear that we're not only looking for 4.0 students, that Well, Sally, I think you could probably speak to this. Our average is probably 3.5, 3.6 GPA.
Mm-hmm.
And on average, how many applicants do you get each year?
Well, like most programs, it's changing right now, right? So we're about 35, 40 applicants a year.
Yep.
And that was based off of the lower number of interns that you used to accept? The 20 that you're accepting this year the highest that you're going to have?
Yeah, 20 will be the highest.
Okay. All right. So my last question, since this program is pretty intense, it's pretty full-time for the students, do you have interns that are also working while they're completing this program? Are they able to manage that? Or are you kindly asking them to try not to do that?
We certainly don't encourage it because there's so much going on at one time between classes, rotations, and research projects. But some students have been able to maintain a limited number of hours or a smaller type job to help supplement their needs, I'd say. Mark, what do you think going forward?
I agree. We like students to focus all their time and energy on the program because we do think it's a pretty intensive program. But we also recognize the fact that some students do have to work, and we just encourage that if they do, they're doing it more on the weekend than during the week.
So I worked at the first year of the program, I worked at a little boutique, but I just worked on Sundays from 11 to 3. And it was doable, but from a student perspective, I would say that it would probably be challenging to work. You'd want to find something that was little to do on the weekends. Because I think it would be hard to try and fit in if there was even time to work during the week.
I can also attest to that. During the first semester of the program, I started working at a coffee shop across the street from my apartment in Chicago. And I was working 3 days a week. And honestly, it just wasn't a great decision. It wasn't a very viable option. It was very difficult to balance. It's not undoable. It's definitely doable. I just think that if you move to a big city like this and invest all your time and energy into a program, and the program directors and staff are investing all their time and energy into you, I think it's important that is your primary focus. So it was difficult for me to maintain 3-4 days a week while being in the program, and I don't have that job anymore because of that. So,
all right. And Mark, because they are grad students, are they eligible to complete assistantships? I know with a lot of other coordinated programs, the interns are not eligible for those positions because of the time commitment.
So we do have within the department assistantships, and students are eligible. It's just we have to make sure it fits in the schedule. If it's something that a student wanted to do, we would work with that student and they were qualified. We would work with them to fit it into their schedule. But we do offer one within the department.
All right, perfect. Well, that wraps up the questions that I have. I like to close out each episode with a little take-home message to potential applicants, and I'd like one from each of our guests today. So we'll start with our students. We'll start with Claire. She looks horrified, but you can do it.
No, it's okay. I'm just bad at being put on the spot. I would just say that I am so blessed and so happy to be at Rush. I mean, our experiences both in food service and clinical and in community have just been far greater than I could have ever imagined. And I mean, we're not even done. And I seriously feel so prepared to be a dietitian in a few months. And also just as the cherry on top, while we're doing all of, experiencing all of these things, we're also getting a master's degree and we're learning so much about research, all the research that's out there, and, even being given the opportunity to kind of be a part of new up and coming research has been something that's been super special. So yeah, I'm just super grateful, super happy that I'm here at Rush.
I can offer a take-home message that is a little more broad. First off, Rush is amazing and should be on the top list of anyone to apply to. But I'd like to say for incoming applicants that if you apply to a dietetic internship or a master's degree and you're accepted here to Rush, just know that to have confidence in yourself when you get here, because you were accepted for a reason, meaning that everyone believes in you. So don't come into the program thinking that you can't handle this, because obviously you were accepted and you can. And try to make the best out of the 20 months because it goes by fast.
All right, Sally, what's your take-home message?
My take-home is basically that Rush provides excellent learning and training opportunities taught by faculty and preceptors that are very invested in your success.
All right, and my take-home message is if you're looking for a challenging program in an exciting city, Rush is the place for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and I will answer those for you.
All right. Well, thank you to all of my guests from Rush University. Those were some great take-homes. For those at home who may be interested in getting some more information about the program at Rush University, I've provided the website link to the program so you can get in touch with Mark. And as always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss an episode with another great dietetic internship. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.